Okay.
So you've all been standing here a long time, and I was instructed 5 minutes, so I actually think I can make it. And thank you all, friends and neighbors, for being here. The weird thing is we find ourselves with a plan motivated by a falsehood, which has been mentioned before. It's an unsupported belief that removing planning and development controls for new market rental towers along the Broadway corridor will lower rents. This is an illusion, one that leads us away from the thoughtful urban planning traditions that have shaped our city for the better. For decades, and I've been privileged to at least observe that or participate to some extent, for decades we adhered to the simple yet powerful idea growth should pay for growth. As we built new developments, we secured park sites, school sites, essential infrastructure, and importantly, affordable housing, which was funded directly through contributions from the development itself. This system allowed us to expand responsibly and equitably, I would argue. But now with this plan, we are turning away from this tradition and bowing to an unfounded market orthodoxy. The city and the province both insist that flooding the skyline with high-rises while stripping away regulations will magically bring prices down. This is folly.
False!
False. False. Let me explain, and I thank you, Thomas, for mentioning that work that you did. I'm stealing some of it. Let me explain. Since 1970, Vancouver has done what no other city in North America has managed. We tripled the number of housing units within city limits. New York City, it added just 30%. By comparison, Los Angeles and San Francisco, equally modest. If simply adding lots of new housing units led to lower prices, Vancouver should have the lowest housing prices in North America. Instead, we have the highest. We have, or had, a tradition in Vancouver. Hundreds of committed planners, developers, and Sean was one of them who spoke earlier. Developers, architects, and urban designers worked hard to bring density done right to our city. We sat with residents, listened, negotiated, and found ways to integrate new housing that enriched neighborhoods without overwhelming them. We built a city that is globally admired for absorbing growth without sacrificing livability. Yet here's the bitter truth. Despite all this new density, prices did not fall. And now the Broadway plan hinges on the belief that a largely unregulated housing market will suddenly deliver affordability. It's a painful contradiction, especially when the facts on the ground tell such a different story. The market, unchecked, only builds where profits are their highest. It doesn't build homes for our teachers, nurses, service workers, or the young families struggling to stay in the city. Now, what is the solution? There are many elements to the solution, but what I would like to see the city consider, the city should confront the core assumption of this plan. The core assumption of this plan that adding new housing units will lead to affordability is patently false.
It's a lie!
It's a lie. The city already has powerful tools at its disposal, tools that were used for decades, for really generations in the past now. Has powerful tools at its disposal, zoning bylaws, development regulations, and policies that can ensure at least a portion of new real estate benefits the public good. Other cities, I'm almost done. Other cities, but I think I've gone on over 5 minutes. Other cities have proven that by leveraging these tools, 50% of all, or more of all new housing can be made permanently affordable. Importantly, keyed to average household income rather than so-called slightly below market. That's the key. That's key. But what are we doing? The opposite. We are, at this time, removing the very controls and easing the very measures that could direct growth towards the public interest. This is not just unwise, it's short-sighted. So we are asking the city to revisit this plan. No one is opposed, particularly here in Vancouver, where we've tripled residential density, and no other city has done that. No one is opposed to the idea of new density. In fact, we are the North American champions. We've done it before, and we can do it again, but not like this. The approach before us is not planning, it is an abdication of planning.
That's right.
Driven by a willful ignorance of how urban markets actually work. We must be smarter. We must harness the strength of this market, as has been done in the past. Look around you. The strength of this market to serve everyone, not just the fortunate few. Let's not turn away from the legacy that made Vancouver great. Let's insist on a plan that builds not just more towers, but a better, more inclusive city. Pause the plan. 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 Pause the plan.